Hello and welcome back to Down the Track. We will be continuing our previews of the IPL teams of 2021. Today we will be talking about Punjab. This team, I mean, every season, somewhat similar to RCB, they kind of give us some hope and then they kind of dwindle down fast. Even in the last season, you saw they started off well. Although they started off poorly, even though they had some close games, but then they suddenly picked up the pace. And towards the end of the season, they were the team to watch out for. They had a few wins together, and it was unfortunate, that one short run that they had or something like that. I mean, it could have been very different if they won that game against. It was one of the first games. I can't remember who it was, but they got a short run. Mayank Agarwal was given one run less, but that could have changed the game because they lost that game by one run
against Delhi Capitals. I think
Delhi Capitals it was. I think yeah. So I mean, this team is. I'm very excited to see how this team performs this time around as well. But there are some gaping holes. We will have to talk about a couple of things that I think that could be a little bit of an issue. But Musti and me will be doing the analysis. Musti, your initial thoughts on Punjab?
My initial thoughts on Punjab are that the Arsenal of the Indian Premier League, and I'm not joking. I'm not joking with you. If you look at the team, the style they play entertaining cricket. They have some really good players. KL Rahul, Chris Gayle, Aubameyang, Rahul, Lacazette, Nicholas Pooran, Odegaard. They have some really good players, but they have a mistake in them every game. Against KKR, you mentioned the Delhi Capitals game against KKR. Rahul was like 60-70. Him and Mayank got out, and they lost that game. I don't know how they lost the game. Against Rajasthan, Tewatia went crazy. So they have good. They have a good team. They have some really exciting players, but as a unit, they're not gelling, and there's a mistake in them here and there. I'm telling you, they're the Arsenal. They struggle with that top four kind of thing as well, up and down. It's a very similar kind of feel for me. But yeah, I would say a team with individuals, but they need to gel together. And I think if they do gel together, they actually have a chance to win this trophy. But I don't know what it is, man. It's just a mistake here and there. Maybe they're bowling as well. They need to work on that. We'll dissect this as we go on in this episode. But yes, really talented team, but they need to gel together.
Yeah. For me, in the second part of last season, I thought they picked up, they started gelling, and I thought they figured out a little bit of their team combination, and I thought that they had a few good games, like the game against Sunrisers as well. They were on course to losing that game, and they don't know why they won that game as well. So that was an interesting.
That's the thing. They have clusters like 5 losses and then 5 wins, and those losses in the beginning, they were very what is it?
Close.
Yeah, marginal, barest of margins. So I think that's the key there. They need to cross the line. They need to finish it off. And I don't know what it is. Like I just feel maybe a bit of luck here and there. And they have a really good team. They could have easily made it the playoffs last season. They won 5 in a row in the end, and convincingly. And when they lost, they lost by a small margin. So I think it's a really good team, but they need to play as a team. I think everybody needs to be on board here. I feel there are moments of brilliance, and then they just let go. Like, Rahul kills it at the top, him and Agarwal. Then at the bottom, like after Pooran special, then the remaining batsmen don't finish it off. So they need to be, I think, more disciplined and a bit more focused. Otherwise, they're wearing red like Arsenal as well. Otherwise, it's very similar to that kind of team, man.
Okay, I think that comparison is a bit much, but I was also thinking about this when I've been jotting my teams down. Yeah. So in my head, I already know most of the players that will make the team. A gaping hole for me was again that lower middle order. I felt like it took me a while to figure out who I can bring in that over there and how I can set my combination right so that I have a good number of bowlers and batsmen. So that was the first time in a lot of these reviews that we've done. It's the first time that I felt that there was that issue. Most teams I was able to quickly run through it, but this time I saw that issue. So I've gone with a certain team. We'll talk about that a little bit in detail. But yeah, I think the fact that KL Rahul is now a year old, he's more experienced. The fact that he's come back in form with that century against Australia as well, so that'll give him a little bit more confidence. Anil Kumble at the helm is probably one of the finest cricketing minds that I've seen. So I'm really looking forward to how he does with this team as well, because I thought he started to make some small changes and he started to make them look good. But now this is the real test. If they can perform in this season, I think Anil Kumble is here to stay. Otherwise, I think Punjab, like Bangalore, is also a little bit restless, with a lack of a better word, and that they will probably try to do some hiring and firing again, and that could again, derail them by a couple of years. So it's going to be interesting to see how they perform this season. It's a big season for KL Rahul. It's a big season for Anil Kumble, in my opinion. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And I think they're a dangerous type of team. I don't think any team would be comfortable facing them. There are weaknesses that you can exploit, I think, particularly in the death bowling and the middle, like you said, the lower middle order and the batting. But one thing that they really need to change, that the one thing I want Rahul to change is his strike rate. I think he needs to improve that. He was the orange cap holder in the last season, but his strike rate was just above run a ball. I think he needs to be a bit quicker. A few games, he's shown that he can accelerate, but I think him and Agarwal are a bit similar. So one needs to go, and even Rahul himself, even if Agarwal is aggressive, I think Rahul needs to be a bit more aggressive because, you need to put on those runs on the board. You've seen the likes of Sunrisers, Mumbai Indians, they play at a quick pace to catch up with them. I think Rahul just needs to adjust that, because I think, not to blame him, I think he understands that there's a middle lower order issue, so that's why he's doing that. But I just think he needs to be a bit more free this season, learn from that experience, because he had a stellar season and they still didn't make the playoffs. So yes, the bowling is an issue, but I think with that, I think strike rate, he needs to work on that and improve that. That's the only complaint I have of him. Otherwise, his captaincy, like you said, in that Sunrisers game, I think the way he brought in the spinners, I remember it clearly like him, because it was the most shocking game for me in a while. And the way he brought in the spinners and, they're bowling in tandem, he kept the fast bowlers till the end. The field placements he set, he's improving on that. So I think he, like you said, he's a year older now. He'll be better as a captain. But in terms of batting, that's one change I want to see, maybe accelerate more. I'm being critical, but in these stages, like if you want to win trophies, you have to look at the minor points, and that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, the margins are very little, so you'll have to work on those small margins to improve your team, improve your game per se. Strengths and weaknesses. For me, personally, when I think about the strengths, I think the fact that they're spinners, the Bishnoi was amazing last season. Murugan Ashwin kind of complimented him well. I thought that they were good. Also, the form of Gale and Puran helped. So they were able to really. I mean, of course, the form of the top four in KL, Mayank, Gale, and Puran helped. So these are the good points in last season and also going into the season. I think that these are the strengths that they had. But the weakness was obviously the fast bowling. The death bowling was abysmal. They leaked a lot of runs. They had a non-existent middle order right after top four. There was nobody literally able to take the mantle of finishing. I thought that they've done well in buying a couple of guys that can improve that. It remains to be seen how they can impact that team, and how Anil Kumble can really, create that atmosphere where they can actually do what is needed and was required after the top four. And in case, like, they have an early collapse of a couple of wickets falling early or something like that, what this slightly inexperienced middle order can do. And when I say middle order, I'm just saying it based off of what the team that I've created. So what are your thoughts on the strengths and weaknesses?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think I was actually surprised in the bowling that they didn't play Ishan Pural regularly. I think they should play him. He had a really good domestic season as well. Last couple of years, he's averaging like 14 with the ball. So I think in the side Mushtaq Ali. So I think they should play him more because that is their weakness. Their bowling is the weakness. Jai Richardson's coming in. So how he plays, how he bowls in the death, that'll be interesting. He has a lot of pace. But, we've seen younger players, they get overwhelmed by the price tag. Will he, won't he? We don't know. But definitely they'll need to improve that death bowling. Spinners are really good, like you said. Mohammad Shami will be key. Whether he's going to start from the beginning, I don't know. Injury update. I think he's still recovering from that injury he got in Australia.
Yeah.
How fit will he be? Because he can guide these youngsters. Even Jai Richardson is young, so I think Mohammad Shami will be an important force if he's there. And I think the other weakness, like you already mentioned, is finishing off games with the bat as well. So lower middle order, and that can impact how the top order approaches. And that's why I feel that Rahul needs to be aggressive and not worry about that, because then they can chip in whoever it is. Like even they've got Shah Rukh Khan as well now. I think he's going to be someone. Yeah. He has that strike rate, so that's a good buy. So I think that will give the top order some confidence. But I think the strength is Nicholas Puran, Chris Gale, Agarwal, and Rahul. That's their strength, and they should go with the mentality that we can chase down anything. I think if you go with that mentality. Agreed. I know bowlers win you series, they win you tournaments, but if you go with that mentality in a T20, you can win 70-80% of your games. You just, I'm not saying you have to you should just rely on 2-3 players, but you can and still win. Like, who the 2-3 players, the players are, that can vary. But like, 2 out of these 4, if they make 50s regularly, I think Punjab will have a good chance because, these are some really good T20 players.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this is a good and like I think that they had a very decent window as well in the auction.
Yes.
I thought that they tried to focus on bringing in the middle order batsmen who can really impact that team, and that has been a problem for them in the past. So that they've worked on that. I think they knew that they had the bowlers that they of course they need some fine tuning, but I thought that they were okay on that front. But I think that they had a decent window, and I'm interested to see how this team goes. Let's look at our top 11, right? Of course, we start off with KL and Mayank, and then we go with the Gale, Puran at 3 and 4.
Yeah.
For me, at 5, I have Moses and Reeks because I think that he can create that little bit of a middle order stability that is needed. At 6, I have Huda, but I also have an option of Mandeep. But I picked Huda because
he's an ex-Sunriser.
No. I picked Huda because he gives you a couple of overs with the ball as well.
Yes.
So that's the reason I picked Huda over Mandeep. So that's at 6. At 7, I have Shah Rukh Khan, who's had a stellar domestic season. So you know that, but then the IPL is a different ball game. To be able to come in and perform at the level will be hard, but we'll see how that goes. At 8, we have Jai Richardson, 9 Murugan Ashwin, 10 Bishnoi, and 11 Shami.
Okay. Yeah,
that's how I've gone. Yeah. No, I couldn't find a place for Ishan Porel, although I really wanted to, but I couldn't find a place for him. But I feel like the fact that if they want to, maybe try initially with the keeping Murugan on the bench and trying Ishan Porel, that's an option too. Because they have a couple other spinners in Huda as well, right? Huda and Bishnoi are the spinners, and then they can go that route as well. So if they want to try that, but I just for me right now with the kind of combination that I was looking for me it is KL, Mayank, Gale, Puran, Moses, Huda, Shah Rukh Khan, Jai Richardson, Murugan, Bishnoi, and Shami.
Yeah, I think that's a really good balance. To be honest with you, I think I would go with this as well. And I have a very similar team actually to yours. But the only thing is, going forward, I don't know what Enriquez, man. Like, he played for Sunrisers as well. He's played for Australia. He's a handy T20 player. He does contribute, but I don't know. Will he, provide that firepower in the middle order? Can he match up? But maybe he'll be a good balance to Puran. It might be like, a good combination. Like, he'll work the singles and Puran will hit. He'll be key. If he doesn't perform, then I think you get in another bowler like a Porel and you play David Milan. I think that's what you might have to do. So they have options.
That's an option too. Yeah,
I think Milan is an excellent option. They have Fabian Allen as well. So he's a good all-round option. He's ex-Sunriser. He didn't play much there, but he's a good option if you want a bit of spin and he's a great fielder and some good hits down the order. He had a good series against Sri Lanka. So Fabian Allen is an option. So they have a lot of options, but I think initially they should go with this team and then see how it goes. Chris Gayle as well, right? He's a year older. I know that like age is just a number. He played fantastically in the last season. He scored 50s consistently, but can he keep that going? That will be interesting as well.
For me personally, I think give Gayle 5 games. If he can give you 1 or 2 good innings, continue with him. If not, bring in Malan at 3. That's simple for me. That's just the way I'm going to look at this.
So they have good backup then. Malan is the world number 1 in T20.
Number 1, exactly. And I'm surprised he went for such a low price. That is a quality buy for Punjab. And I think that they've done well. I think that this is a good solid side. It just remains to be seen how the likes of Shah Rukh Khan, Jai Richardson can really cope with this high impact IPL pressure games, right?
But you know what the thing is? The good thing is though, these are still contributing players, like Shah Rukh Khan, Richardson. But who do you rely on? You rely on Rahul, Agarwal, Gill. So I think if you compare this to RCB, these guys are a bit better off because their key players are already there. They've been there. They've played as a unit, and they've gotten some key players to fill in those weaknesses which were not there before. For like a finisher like Shah Rukh Khan, like a quick bowler like Richardson, but they don't only depend on them. Whereas RCB, they got a Maxwell. Now everything is on Maxwell right now. It's on his, like he has to perform. So I think that kind of will ease the pressure, I guess. And even if it doesn't ease the pressure of these youngsters, Punjab will still have a good chance because they do have that experience. And a lot of these players have played together. I think that's very important. The players that you do rely on, they played for a while together. So I think they have an advantage over somebody like an RCB. I just feel like if you look at it from that point of view.
I think I agree with that. I mean, the likes of over here as well. I think an interesting point is that everyone from Moses, so apart from the top 4, everyone from Moses who's at number 5 for me can bowl. Moses can bowl, Huda can bowl, Shah Rukh can bowl, Jai Richardson can bowl, and Bishnoi and Murugan and Shami.
Shah Rukh Khan can bowl. I saw him. You're right. Yeah. So
he's a lot of bowling. He's a good bowling all rounder. Yeah.
And good bowling options. If you're struggling with the bat, then you can take one of them out and bring in a batsman because you still have others to cover. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with you. That the really good point. They have a lot of bowling options.
Yeah. So that helps them. That gives them, they're not constrained. We saw the issue that Sunrisers had against Delhi. They had only 5 bowlers, and that became a problem. So here, if you have 6 or 7, that gives you that extra option here and there to, use that extra bowler if need be. So I think that this is a good side. It just remains to be seen how they can gel and how they can perform on the day with these contributors. If the contributors can step up with the big guys, doing their thing, if the contributors can step up, I think that these guys have a chance.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I feel that they have a really good chance. I always think they're a good team, but they do mess up. That's why it does remind me of Arsenal, because even Arsenal have some really good players. So I'm sorry I keep bringing this up, but it's just the similarities for me are a lot. And and Rahul's captaincy again, there's a lot of talk about him keeping, captaining, and batting. I think he handled that pretty well, and he has the option of Puran as well. There's actually one more player that I wanted to talk about. Sorry to add to it, but
no, absolutely.
His name is Singh. What's his name? Simran Singh.
Simran Singh.
Prab Simran Singh. That guy had he played really well in the Syed Mustaq Ali Trophy as well, I think. Sorry, there's some stats. 341 runs. His average was 85 in the Syed Mustaq Ali.
Yeah.
So
he's a very good option at number 6 instead of Huda Mandeep. They can actually just keep him there, just, go all out, tonk it if you can. If you don't, we have the likes of Shah Rukh Khan and Jai Richardson to take over the mantle behind him. So that's a good option to have as well.
Yeah. So they have plenty of options in that way. Of course, they'll depend on the top 4. But apart from that, I think they have plenty of options. And it's a team that can be unpredictable. So I don't think every team, every opposition won't be too comfortable against them. They won't know what to expect. And they just need to keep their head focused and do if they lose games with the opposition beating them, that's fine. But last season, there's too many games where they lost the game. They can't afford that. When you're in a winning position, they have to seal it. They have to learn from their mistakes. They can't keep throwing games like that. It's like you're up 4 goals and then 4-4. That Newcastle game comes to mind. That's what happened.
Oh my God, you need to stop it.
But that's what it comes to mind. You know what I mean? Too many games like that. So I think it's going to be in their hands if they want to make top 4. I know it's a very weird kind of statement, but that's what it is, because that's what I've seen in the last couple of seasons. They have the players, but they screw up too many times. So let's see how it goes this season.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What position are they finishing?
Top 4. Potential finalists for me. I think I just feel there might be a new winner, or not even a new winner, but I just feel the playoffs will be a bit different. Just one more stat for you. Out of 13 seasons, Punjab only qualified for the playoffs in 2 seasons. That's
twice.
It. Yeah. Only twice.
Yeah.
So 11 times they've been chilling outside the top 4. So they need to, I think, what is it? What do you call it? Like numbers might catch up or whatever. I just think they'll come to the top 4.
Yeah. For me, I think that they'll just miss. I think they'll finish 5th. They'll be the KKR of last season. They'll be in a position, but I think some other team from the down low will have a good run in the end, and they'll miss by like a very minute margin. That's what I think.
Fair
enough. I think that they just miss my top 4. They won't be as bad as they were last season. I think that they'll have a little bit more consistency. They won't have like a phase where they lost a few and then they suddenly won a few. I think they'll win a few. It'll be patchy for them, I think, and they'll just miss. I think that's my feeling. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's a close call. For me, that it'll just be the opposite. And if it does happen opposite, then there'll be a dangerous team in the playoffs as well. So
fair enough.
I think we both have them in similar positions, even though one is in the for you they're not in the playoffs. For me, they are, but similar type of team, like a middle table team who can threaten the top dogs in this tournament.
I agree. I think it's going to be interesting how this comes along. Looking forward to Punjab this season for sure.
Yeah, and your players to watch out for?
We forgot that. Nicholas Puran. I think that he is a gun player. He is unbelievable. I think that, last season, I thought we saw it in flashes, but I think now this season, I think in this season, you know what? That you're the man to go to man. Irrespective of whatever happens in the top order, if he comes in the 17th over just needing to up the pace, that's fine too. If he comes in the 5th over needing to stabilize, I want to see both sides of him, and I think that he's capable of taking both sides in his stride and moving forward, and that's why I want to see how he goes.
Nicholas Puran, yeah. For me as well, Puran and Ravi Bishnoi, Odegaard and Saka.
Yeah.
Punjab. Because Puran, like you said, I think he's the rising star now. We saw flashes. If he can turn that into consistent run scoring, I think he might even top the run scoring charts. He packs a punch, man. He looks a small package, but he packs a punch, and he can clear any ground. Some smaller grounds as well. He might enjoy that. How he plays spin will be interesting towards the end of the tournament. That's what I'm going to be interested in, because he can hit it, but when it starts turning a bit, how he's going to play the likes of Rashid Khan. He played him pretty well in the last season, but let's see how that goes. And Ravi Bishnoi, I think he got the wickets of Warner, Bairstow. I think he troubled Kohli and Rohit Sharma as well. He's excellent. I think he's future India player, very soon. So if he has a really good IPL, he might get into the team before the World Cup. So a very important tournament for him, but I feel that he has the skill. He can hold the nerve as well. I think him and I know Padikkal got the emerging player, but Ravi Bishnoi was nothing short of emerging player last season. He was fantastic.
Absolutely.
He really, for me, he was the most impressive Indian youngster.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree. I think that he's a good player to watch out for sure as well. I agree. I think that wraps it up. Looking forward to the games.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you so much.
Take care.